Hi, this is John Patrick. I'm with Kathy Salario. You're not Irish, Kath.
No.
Kathy not Irish. We're at the Maxim out in Las Vegas, the beautiful Maxim Casino. Have you ever been in Vegas? When you come in, I'll be talking a little bit later about the Maxim, one of the most beautiful casinos in Las Vegas. It's not the biggest, but it's a beautiful casino, beautiful dealers. And Kathy was on our hideout tape with us, so we've used her before. We're going to talk about blackjack tonight, and Kathy's going to deal out hands, and I'm going to explain from a standpoint of a basic approach to blackjack. Now, we're not talking to the advanced player. We're talking to you people that never played blackjack before. Blackjack is played with 1 deck, 2 deck, 4 decks, or 6 decks of cards. Now, when you walk up to a table, you should know something called basic strategy. Basic strategy is a move that you, the player, should know before you sit down at the table. It tells you what do you do when the dealer has an up card and you have 2 cards that you're going to play with. Now, every decision you make that day is going to be based on your 2 cards against the dealer up card. Now, you don't know what this underneath card is, but the whole game is based on this one premise. And the moves that you're going to make is going to be based on basic strategy. And you're going to find this card in the kit that you got. And here's what we're going to do. We're just going to simulate 4 hands. So suppose 4 different people were playing blackjack. Now, there's 2 types of ways that they deal blackjack. Here in Vegas, most of the casinos deal, what do they call that, Cass, when they spin the cards?
Pitch.
Pitch. So we're pitching the cards. Show them how you would deal Las Vegas style. Okay, here's what she's done. Every one of these players was dealt 2 cards. We don't see them. The dealer doesn't see them. And she has 1 card up and 1 card down. This is the Las Vegas style. Now, what you do is you look at your hand. In this case here, you have a 17. 9 and 8 is 17 against the dealer's 9. Now, if you don't want another hit, you just put your cards under the chip. And Kathy knows that you're finished. Now, the next player would come along. Now, she's got 13. If you would look at your basic strategy chart, it tells you that you're supposed to hit 13. So the way you would signal Kathy to give you a card is you would make a sweeping motion with your 2 cards to indicate that I want a card. Go ahead, Kathy. She gave you a card. You have 13 plus 2 is 15, so you want another card. The right basic strategy move would be to take another card. So you give another sweeping motion. Kathy gives you another card. Now, you went over 21. Now, the object of 21, of course, is to stay under 21. When you go over 21, it's called breaking. Now, you're done. Now, this is what Kathy's going to do. She took your cards, puts them in a card tray, and put some money back in the tray. Third hand, come along. Got 18. So this player is done. The last hand has a 7. She has 16. Now the object is to get over 17 when a dealer has what is called a standing hand. She's going to sweep again. Just 22. Breaks. Now, Kathy's going to finish her hand. Now, the rules of the game is that, look right here, it says dealer must draw to 16. That means anytime she has 16, which is what she has now, she has to draw and she stands on 17. If she was dealt what is called a standing hand of 17 as her 2 cards, she would have to stand. Now, in blackjack, I'm going to jump off the way to play the game for a second. We're talking about the ace in blackjack, which could be used as either 1 or an 11, and it's up to the individual player. So if you were dealt, in this case here, an ace and a 6, that's a soft 17. In Kathy's case here, she has to stand. Now, you could take a hit if you have a soft 17 and the dealer has a 10 going. You haven't got a prayer of beating him with a 17 when he has a 10 showing. In this case here, Kathy has to stop on 17, even though it's called a soft 17. What'd you have, Kathy? You drew to 16. I think you drew a 5. She's got 20. Now, she will turn over takes the money, turns over to 17, 18, takes the money. That game is over. Now, the whole game of blackjack is based, like I said, on your 2 cards against the dealer's up card, and you're going to make your bet to start the game. This is the way they deal in Atlantic City. All the casinos in Atlantic City, you can't touch the cards. See what she's doing? These cards are being dealt face up. Now, you can't touch the cards in Atlantic City. You cannot touch the cards. Now, to indicate to the dealer, in this case here, what they want to do with their cards, there's no sweeping motion because you cannot touch the cards. So if I wanted a card here, I'd point to it, or I'd put a sweeping motion with my hand. Now you've got a 6 or a 16. Naturally, you're not going to beat the 9 with a 6, so you're going to call for a card. Kathy gives you a card. Now you have 11, 12, 13, 18. Now you have a soft 18, because anytime you have an ace in your hand, it's called soft. In this case here, true basic strategy would tell you that a soft 18 against a dealer's 9 is no good. Even though you have 18, you have garbage. So I'm going to call for another card. Now you have 20. You know, I didn't set these cards up neither. We didn't set this up, and this is what happened. Now I have 20. Now to tell the dealer to stop, I don't want any more cards, I'm going to wave my hands over the cards. Now Kathy knows I'm done. Now they go to the next player, waves his hands over it. The next one, 9. She has 12. Breaks. Kathy takes the cards in the disc tray, goes to the last hand. Here again we've got a soft 15 or a 5. Now we have a hard 15. Hard 15 means the next card could break us, but we've got to take a hit. We've got 18. Now we stop. Kathy has 14, has to take a hit. She has 18. Now she's going to go along. Watch what she indicates. That's a push. When she taps the table, that means it's a push. Nobody wins or loses. She paid the person with the 20, paid the person with the 20. Check it counts. Now, that hand is over. Now you can take your bets back and go on to the next hand. You know what we're going to do now is touch on this thing called doubling down. This is what doubling down is all about. You're not doubling your bet because you're going to get a great card. You'd like to, but it's not going to happen all the time. What you're doing is you're doubling your bet by putting an extra $5 up there because Kathy's in a weak position. Now the dealer is weak when she has a 6, 5, 4, 3, or 2 up there. And you have, for instance, an 11, a 10, or a 9. And you can double your bet because you know you're not going to break. In this case here, we're only going to get one card when you double down. Now she knew that you wanted a card when you put that extra chip up there to double down. Now in Vegas, she dealt down. If we were in Atlantic City, we would deal up. And that's the only card we're going to get. Now we didn't get a good card. We got a lousy 16. But she has to take a hit because she's got 16. She took a hit and broke. In this case here, we win $10. Got to pay them, Kathy. She's going to pay you $10, take the cards, and you have doubled the amount of your bet. That's called doubling down. And the chart that you see with the kit is going to explain to you when do you double down. I want to slide into what is called splitting. Splitting is done when you are dealt 2 cards of the same value. For instance, suppose you were dealt 2 4s against a dealer's 6. Now, here again, Kathy's in a weakened position. She has a 6 as the up card, and you have 2 4s. Suppose you were betting $5. Now, when I put another 5 up here, there's 2 options. I could double down with the 6 against the 6, or I could split. And Kathy will say, are you doubling or splitting? Now, most people are going to split. And what she's going to do now is she's going to split those 2 hands and deal you 2 separate hands. When you have 2 cards of the same value, you have the opportunity of splitting. Okay, Kathy? It gives you a 9. Now, in this point here, a good player is going to put another chip up there, which indicates that you can double down after a split, which means after they do the splitting, this becomes a whole new hand, and the 5 gives you the opportunity to double down a 9 against a dealer's 6. She put another 5 up there, and Kathy's going to give her 1 more card. She gets an ace for a 20. Now, you've got 20 against a dealer's 6, and now you're done. You're finished with that particular hand, and you're going to move to the next hand. You have 6, 8, 12. Now, in this case here, you have what is called a breaking hand against a dealer's 6. You're not going to hit a 12 against a dealer's 6. You're going to wave Kathy off. You're done with this particular hand. Okay, Kathy. She has 16. She breaks. She's going to pay you 5, 5, and 5. The game is over. You notice what doubling down and splitting is. The opportunity of taking your first 2 cards and getting more money, but against a dealer. I want to do one quick thing for you. Kill those cats. This is called a ladder of blackjack. When the dealer shows one of these cards as the up card, she's going to show either an ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen, king. That's all she can deal. There's only 13 cards. When she deals to you as her up card, an ace, a king, a queen, a jack, a 10, or a 9, she is powerful. You're not going to beat her. Most of the time, she is going to beat you. When she deals as her up card an 8 or a 7, it's called neutral. She isn't weak, nor is she strong. Here's where she's weak. 6, 5, 4, and 3 and 2 is called neutral again. So the dealer's up card is based on the card that you can see. 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, powerful. 8 and 7, 7 and 8, she's neutral. 6, 5, 4, she's weak. Now we go after her with doubling and splitting. 2 and 3, she's weak, but not as weak as you might think. It's called a neutral hand. Okay? I want to do one quick thing because we're going to go over this in the end of the tape. But I'm going to talk one quick thing about money management. There's 4 things you need when you gamble: bankroll, knowledge, money management, discipline. Bankroll is the amount of money you take to the casino. Knowledge, being perfect, knowledge of the game. Money management is what do you bet when you win, what do you bet when you lose. And discipline is the key to gambling, which is when do you quit. But this is one quick thing I want to show you. Suppose you're playing at a $5 table. Your first bet should be higher than the minimum. For instance, your first bet would be $8 because your chances of winning is 50-50. So suppose you win. Pay me $8, Cass. Now, Kathy paid me $8. Now, since my chances of winning is only 50-50, this is what I want you to do. And we're going to go over this deeper later. I'm going to take back the $8 I won. Now I have nothing at risk. Plus, I'm going to take a profit back, $3, and I'm going to bet $5. So even if I lost the next hand, I have the 8 I started with, plus a profit of 3. It's called a regression system. After the first win, you go down. Now I win again. Now I'm going to go up and pull. I'm going to go up to 8 again and pull back 2. That's money management. And like I said, we're going to go deeper. Guys, I want to thank you for being on the tape again. I hope you learned something about blackjack. And don't play until you're perfect. Okay? You know what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to the craps table. You know, most of you people, you don't play craps for that one big word. It's called intimidation. You're scared. You haven't got the guts to walk up to the table. You know, few people that's never played craps. Intimidation means not at the craps table. Most of the people yelling at the craps table, they're not yelling because they know what they're doing. They're yelling because they're venting their frustration. So put that out of your mind. This is a very uncomplicated game. I'm going to give you the whole idea of the game. The game starts when a person walks up to the table. You're going to drop, for instance, $100 on the table. They're going to take that money, pass it over to the box man. They're giving me $100 in chips. That's it. That's the way the game begins. Now, there's a marker on the table. The game does not begin until that marker is activated. The stick man, he runs the game. He's going to pass 5 dice to me. This is going to start the game. Everybody around the table is going to get the opportunity of betting. Now, he's going to push 5 dice to me. I'm going to take 2 dice. This is the whole object of the game. I'm going to throw these dice across the table. I've got to hit both sides, both dice on the other side of the table. The game begins when this marker is activated. You're going to throw until you make the number that I establish as the point, and then start all over again. You've got to make your number before the 7. Now watch how easy this is. Everybody at the table has the opportunity of betting on what is called a pass line. I'm going to explain this whole table here, and it's already in your kit. But I'm going to make a bet on a pass line, and anybody else on that table who wants to make a bet on the pass line, they're betting with me that we're going to throw a lot of numbers. So when I make that $5 bet, I want to activate this marker. It says off on one side, which means the game hasn't begun. It says on the other side. When the on marker shows, the on side of the marker shows the game is in progress. I'm going to throw these dice across the table. I've got to hit the other side of the table. And watch the dealer.
6.
He announced 6. This dealer is going to mark the 6. That means I bet $5. I have to make the 6 before the 7. That's how easy the game is. On the come-out roll, you win on 7 and 11, you lose on 2, 3, or 12. No matter what other point comes, they mark that point, and he has to make that number again before the 7. On the other side of the coin, we have what is called the don't pass line. The don't pass means that you are betting against the dice. So if I were to place my chip on the don't pass, that means I'm saying that this shooter will not make his point. So a do-better is betting with the dice. He wants to see the number come before the 7. The don't-better is betting against the dice. He wants to see the 7 come before the particular point. Let's go to the big 6 and the big 8. I hate to say this, but if you're in Atlantic City, we don't have the big 6 and the big 8. What they do is they pay even money. If you make a bet in the 6 or the 8, and if a 6 or an 8 comes, you're going to be paid even money. But if you dropped your money on the table and you said to the dealer, place a 6 and the 8, please, they're going to give you the 6 and 8 up on the board. So I don't want you playing the big 6 and the big 8 in Vegas. You do not play that. It's a rotten bet. Why would you play $5 and get even money when you can play $6 up here and can be paid 7 to 6? Let's go to the field. The field, it's a one-roll action bet. I bet $5. 3, 4, 9, 10, or 11 comes in, I'm going to be paid even money. If the 2 or the 12 comes in, I'm going to be paid double. The field isn't the worst bet on the table, but it's not the best. Let's go to the come bet. You will never see me tell you to play the come. It is one of the worst bets in the house. Now, a lot of crap shooters will disagree with that theory, but as you get deeper into craps, you're going to find out that I am opposed 150 billion% against playing the come. The come is a rotten bet. But on the other side of the table, there's this part of the table that says, don't come. That means that the don't better, after a point is established, suppose pick any point that was established, you can make another bet by coming through the don't come, and the bet that you put in here is not a bad bet. It just means that you have another so-called point working. So the don't come is something I left off because even though it's opposite to the come, this is a good bet, this is a bad bet. I want to show you something about place betting. At any time during the course of the game, you wanted to place a bet, all you have to do is drop a chip on the table. You got to remember, you can touch your bets on the pass line, and you can touch your odds bet, and you can touch your don't pass, and you can put your money, whoops, wouldn't play that, you can put them on the field. But when it comes to place betting, the dealer has to take care of the place bets. So suppose I was going to place the 6 and the 8. I would drop, in this case here, $12 on the table, and they placed $6 on the 6 and $6 on the 8. Suppose I wanted to place a 5. I'd say, place a 5, please. So I am placing the 5. So they can touch it, the dealer can touch it, but I can put that up anytime I want, I come down anytime I want. The dealer places a chip around the box to indicate where you are standing. Just remember, the 6 and the 8, you have to bet at least $6. The 4, 5, 9, and 10, you have to bet, you can bet increments of $5. And it's all explained here deeper. I don't want to get into the technicalities right now. I want to go over the game itself. Right in the center of the table, they have what is called the pits. The pits are proposition bets. When you want to make a bet on a particular move on the table, for instance, suppose I said I want to bet the 11. What they're going to do is they're going to place that chip on the E, and they indicated exactly where I'm standing at that table. If I was standing in the middle of the table here, and I said, give me the 11, please. Suppose I said I want any craps. He's going to put the C on the craps. So C means craps, E means 11. Suppose I'm going to play the hard 8. He put the chip at a place where I'm standing at the table to indicate that I am betting on the hard 8. And this is what the hard 8 is. There are 5 ways to make an 8. If you can make an 8 5-3, 3-5, 6-2, or 2-6, it's called an easy way of making it. If you throw a 4-4, it's called a hard 8. There's only one way to make a hard 8. You have one way of winning, and you have 10 ways of losing. But they don't pay you 10-1. They pay you 9-1. Now, if you look at the marker here on the hard 8, in Las Vegas, they mark their tables 10-4-1. In Atlantic City, they play it 9-2-1. It's exactly the same. In the kit, we've explained to you how many ways you can make the 7. For instance, this is called the pyramid of craps. The 7, for instance, can be made 6 ways. There are 6 ways to make the 7. 6-1, 1-6, 5-2, 2-5, 4-3, 3-4. Every other number can be made lesser amount of times. The 4 can be made 3 ways. The 10 can be made 3 ways. The 5 and the 9 can be made 4 ways each, and the 6 and the 8 can be made 5 ways each. Obviously, this is the easiest number to make, the 7. So it's going to be hard to make the number. So they allow you to take what is called odds behind the line. The odds are based on the amount of ways you can make 7, as opposed to the amount of ways they can make the particular number. Just for instance, suppose the 4 was the point. Mark the 4, believe the 4. 4 was the point. There are 6 ways to make the 7. There are 3 ways to make the 4. Obviously, the odds are 6-3 against us, or 2-1. So by taking a $5 bet behind the line, behind the pass line, this bet is going to pay true odds. This one is going to pay even money. Show me how you're going to pay me. See what he did? He paid me even money on the pass line, and he paid me the true odds of making that particular number, which was the 4, against a 7. In this way here, 6-3 is 2-1. So they paid me 2-1 for my odds bet, and they paid me even money for my pass line bet. Let's suppose now the 6 was the point. Start all over again. Mark the 6. I'm betting on the pass line. Look at how simple this is. The dice are going to come back to me. I'm going to throw until I make a 6, or until I make a 7. If I make a 7, the game is over. If I make a 6, if I make my point, suppose the 6 comes out. Dealer is going to tell everybody at the table, winner 6. pay the dues and take the don'ts. Pay the dues means they're going to pay anybody who's betting on the pass line. You're called a right better or a do better when you're betting on a pass line. If you were betting on a don't pass, you're a don't better. So the whole object of the game is that when that marker is in the off position and the black side is showing, the game hasn't started. The game is activated. When the white side comes out, a number is established, and you have to make that number before 7. Now, if you walked up to a craps player, any craps player, and you said, what number would you like to see come on the come-out roll? Naturally, they're going to say 7 or 11. If I ask them, what number would you like to see come as the point, 99% of all crap shooters says, I'd rather see the 6 or the 8. Yet they have to take the chance of getting whatever comes. They could get the 9 or the 5, the 4, the 10, numbers that they really don't want. I, walking up to the table, can place any number I want. And the way I do that is I wait for a number to be established. Suppose the 9 came as the point. The dealer marks the 9. Everybody betting on the pass line has to take the 9. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say 6 and 8, please. The dealer's going to mark the 6 and 8. That means I have the 2 strongest numbers on the board. Now, this is how you people could play craps. I know you're not going to like the conservative aspects of it, but watch how simple it is. You wait until a come-out roll is established with a number. So it's called bypassing the come-out roll. I do not bet on the come-out. So you bypass the come-out roll, and once the point is established, you drop $12 on the table, and you say 6 and 8, please. The dealer's going to place $6 on the 6 and $6 on the 8. Now, the number of ways you could lose is if the 7 comes. The 7 can be made 6 ways. The number of ways that you can make the 6 is 5 ways. The number of ways you can make the 8 is 5 ways. You have 10 ways of winning as opposed to 6 ways of losing. Now, going into vigorous for just one fraction of an instant, a person who bets on the pass line and takes the odds, in this case here on the 9, he took odds. He has reduced the house big from 1.41 on betting just the pass line to 0.8% by taking a line. 0.8%. But by placing the bets, I have reduced the vigorous down to 1.51. So even though I'm giving up 0.7 percentage points, I have the 2 strongest numbers all the time. You don't have to worry about that other 0.7 percentage point because we can make the 6 and the 8 more ways than any other number. So the way I want you to do is bypass the come-out roll, place a 6 and the 8, take 2 hits, and come down. Come down and don't make another bet until after that shooter establishes another number. So let's look now. Suppose the 6 came. 6 came. I'm going to get $7. I'm going to say to the dealer, same bet, please. The 8 comes. He's going to pay me $7. And I'm going to say, down on my bets, please. That's it. That's how simple this system is. For you people that have never played craps before, bypass a come out, place a 6 and the 8, take 2 hits, and down. And there is such a thing as etiquette at a craps table. And I want to give you a couple of do's and don'ts. Okay, let me see the dice. Did you ever see these people pull this at the dice table? You know, they take the dice and they set it and they set this. And this isn't going to do anything. I mean, all you do is harass everybody at the table. When the dice come to you, pick the dice up, throw them across the table. Both dice have to hit the other side of the table. That's all it is. Just a one-roll flick action. There's nothing to it. You know, tipping at the table. There is nothing wrong with tipping. I'm not saying that because these guys are standing here. It is so easy to play the game of craps, but there's going to be times when you're going to just get a little bit sleepy. You know how you would tip the dealers? Is make a play for them. And one of the easiest plays to make, and I think one of the best for the dealer, is, for instance, you would give them a play in the hard 6 or the hard 8. Naturally, they would like to see you play a $5 bet on the pass line for them, but you're not going to do it. But you at least give them, and don't give them the chip. I wouldn't say this is for the boys. I think that's gunky. It just doesn't work. Make them play with you. So if I'm going to bet on the hard 6 and the hard 8, you would put $4 into the center of the table, and you say two-way hard 6 and 8, which means $1 hard 6 for me, $1 for the boys, $1 hard 8 for me, and $1 for the boys. There's nothing wrong with tipping, and I'm stressing that very strongly. Tipping is a good thing to do because they're going to be working in your corner. When you play craps, go up to the tables. You're going to chart the tables and play the simplest system you can find. Now I'm going to go very deeper into the advanced tapes. We've got tapes on beginners craps, intermediate craps, advanced craps, and super craps. Now you're not ready for that. The basic way to play: bypass a come-out roll, place a 6 and the 8, take 2 hits, and come down. And as you graduate to the next level, you would bypass a come-out roll. You notice I always do that after you chart the table. You say 22 inside. Richie, place 22 inside. This is what 22 inside means. I'm going to drop $25 on the table. He's going to give me $5.05, $6.06, $6.08, and $5.09. $22 inside, and he's going to give me $3 change. Again, you're going to take 2 hits and come down. That's all you have to know, the basic idea of playing craps. I hope you learned something, and I hope you get those advanced tapes as you advance. And at the end of the tape, we're going to go over this particular tape. We're going to go over money management and discipline and show you how do you bet. Because that depends on how do you win. Okay? Now we move over to the game of roulette. This is a game that everybody could play. It's very simple. What I'm going to do is we're going to go over the whole game, and then we're going to show you a couple of systems. Working with me is Beth. Beth's been dealing for years here. It's called a graveyard shift. She's got the tough hours. So the next time you're in the Maxim and you'd like to play roulette, you're going to find Beth dealing for you. And she's going to be simulating the game, and I'm going to be explaining it as we go along. It's a very simple game to play. And here's how it starts off. By the way, we've got these cards that's in the kit, which is going to help you out. But I'm going to be explaining it as we go along. Let's assume we walked up to a table, and I'm going to buy in. And I'm going to drop, for instance, I'm going to drop $60 on the table. I am buying in. You notice I can't hand Beth the money, so I drop it on the table. Beth will take the money, and she is going to give me 50-cent chips. Now, in Atlantic City, you can get dollar chips. Most of the time, you can't get the 50 cents, but you're going to get dollar chips. But right now, since we're in Las Vegas, Beth is going to take the $60. Now she's going to put it down the slot, but she ain't putting this $60 down the slot. So we make believe it goes down the slot, and then she's going to give me chips. Now, each of these chips, like I said, is worth 50 cents. So give me $60 worth the... Now, she's giving me a color. It doesn't matter what color she gives me. Doesn't even matter. She could give me blue, green, yellow, but you can't take these chips away from the table because you go to another roulette table and there might be somebody else using gold chips or yellow. So you're going to have to turn these chips in at the table where you're playing. And for instance, if you'll notice on here, the number 2, that indicates we're at table number 2. So if you go to another table, you're going to see the number 2 on the chip, so you couldn't play it there anyway. So you got coverage. But now what we're going to do is we're going to explain the parts of the table and what the payoff is. Now, the game begins when Beth will spin that wheel. We won't do it yet, but when Beth spins that wheel after you make your bets. Now, you're going to make your bets after Beth removes the marker that she's going to have on the table. So let's assume now a game is going to begin because there's a clearance on here. Now, you're going to bet a certain amount of chips. Now, forget about the money management right now. I'm going to show you the payoffs, and it's all already in your kit. If you were to place a number straight up, pays 35 to 1. That's where you put it. If you place a chip in between 2 numbers, it's called a split bet, pays 17 to 1. If you place a chip out here, it's a street bet. Some casinos call it a line. I call it a street. You get all 3 numbers in a street, and it pays 11 to 1. This is called a quad bet, pays 8 to 1. You get all 4 numbers that particular chip touches. This is called a double street. For instance, if you put this chip in between the 10 and the 13, overlapping on the first and second dozen column, you're going to pick up all 6 numbers in that double street, and it pays 5 to 1. Now, the vigorish against you on every bet on the entire table is 5.26. That's the house vigorish. But if you were to place a chip in here, there's only one 5-number bet on the whole wheel. The vigorish is 7.89. You get the 0, 00, 1, 2, 3 by placing a chip right here. There are outside bets. Anytime that you bet out here, and you've got to look at the table minimum. There's going to be a marker on the table, whether you're in Atlantic City or if you're, for instance, out here in the Maxim, they're going to have a minimum at that table. And it tells you if you bet inside, which is a bet in here, it's called an inside bet, might be a $2 minimum. You have to bet at least $2. If you bet on the outside, this is called an outside bet, where you could bet either black, red, even, odd, high, or low. High means the numbers 19 to 36, and even means, low means the numbers 1 to 18. But there's a minimum out there. You have to bet $3, but you can't bet, for instance, $1 on odd, $1 on black, and $1 on even. You have to put all 3 on one of the designated bets on the outside. This is a dozen bet. If you bet this dozen here, you could lose if the second or third dozen comes up. This pays 2 to 1. Obviously, it pays 2 to 1 because you have 12 ways to win plus 24 ways to lose. It pays 2 to 1 because your chances of losing is 2 to 1 plus a 0 and a double 0. This is called a courtesy bet. If you were to place your chips in between the second and third dozen on this line, you're going to get a 0 and a double 0. Because sometimes you're playing at this end of the table and you can't reach the other side. Now what we're going to do is talk about the columns. Columns is exactly the same as the dozens. If I play this column here, for instance, I'm going to get all the numbers in that particular column. It pays 2 to 1 for the same reason. You have 12 ways of winning as opposed to 24 ways of losing. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make a bet, and Beth is going to spin the wheel. So when Beth is spinning the wheel, and she's going to spin it slow because I want to simulate a couple of bets. Now, for instance, I'm going to play 2 chips. For instance, in the double street of 10 to 13, 2 chips in between the 1 and the 4, 1 chip on the quad of 17, 18, 20, and 21, and 2 chips in between 28 and 31. Now watch what Beth does. We'll put the ball into it. Just spin it, yeah. Okay, now watch what she's going to do. There are going to be people all around the table making their bets. It doesn't matter, but give me a couple of pink chips. Just a couple, I just want to show them something. Let's suppose somebody else is on the pink, has a pink chip on the 26. What I'm going to do is, you can put your chips on top of each other. Now, let's go back, spin it again, because I wanted to bring up a point. So if you've got a gold chip, and somebody else has got pink, and somebody else has got blue, it doesn't matter, because you can put your chip right on top of it, because they could put the pink on here, the blue, the green. It doesn't matter. Or if you've got the same thing, when she pays you, she is going to take the chips off that aren't covered by the winning spin, and what she's going to do is then pay you. Just before the ball comes to a stop, Beth, how do you signal to people no more bets?
No more bets.
That means every time the ball is coming to a stop, she's going to signal you no more bets. Now, you can't make a bet. You can't throw a bet out here after she makes that signal. That means stopping you, so there's no discrepancy on what came. What came, Beth?
Spin it again.
No, let it go. Which number came on that particular spin? 00 came. Now, we all lost. This is what Beth does. Game is over because nobody had 00. And in this particular system, I didn't have it. Now, you cannot make a bet until she removes that marker. Now, I'm going to come back again, spin again, Beth. I'm going to start my bets over again. For instance, I'm going to bet the 10 to the 13, 28 to the 31, the quad bet here. I'm going to bet a double street up here. I'm just showing you the way I'm betting. Now, it's coming to the end. She's going to signal you for no more bets. Everybody at that table, they're done. They cannot make any more bets. 10 came. You see what she did? She cleared all of the chips away from the losers, from the losing bets. Now she's going to pay me 10 chips. She knows that the person with the gold chips is the winner, and she's going to pass them exactly over to where you're standing at the table. She's not going to put them next to the bed here. She's going to pass them over to you. This is how simple the game is. Take a look back over. You might have to rewind your VHS, but take a look at this and get an idea of the basic approach to roulette. Okay, now what we're going to do is, Beth is going to spin the wheel, and I'm going to make a play. This is called the action number system. Now, you know how it's going to be done because you can see the chart, and you've been watching me play it all along. 2 chips in between the 10 and the 13, 2 in between the 1, 4, the 28 to 31, and 1 chip in between 17, 18, 20, and 21. Now,
No more bets. Number 25.
okay, 25 come up. Don't touch the chips yet, but I want to explain something to the theory as to why we made this bet. I made double street bets here. Now, if you were to look at the wheel, and you're going to get a chance to examine a roulette wheel, no matter where the ball lands based on this system, you're going to be on the number I gave you, or no more than 2 clicks away. So what I've done is I've reduced your chances of losing. So in this case here, the 25 came up as a number. Beth, what's on the other side of the 25?
11, 30.
29?
11 or 30.
No, I mean right next to it on the 25.
29 and 10.
29 is right next to it. 29 is one of our numbers. 10 is on the other side of it. So even though the 25 come up, I cut down the chances of it coming up because on either side of the 25 was one of our numbers, which is covered in one of the double streets. This is called the action number system, a very easy and simple way for you to play. The next system I'm going to use, kill that one, give me one more spin, Beth. This is another system. You're going to wait for something to come in, and then you're going to bet it. It's called follow the trend. What we're going to do now, let's assume the number 13 came in. 13 is in the second dozen. My theory is that now what you're going to do is when the second dozen came in this case 13, I'm going to bet the second and the third dozen. If the third had come in, I would have bet the third and the first. If the first came in, I would have bet the first and the second. It's called follow the trend, and I'm looking for a 24 number hit. Watch what happens.
20.
20 come up.
Want me to go out the land?
Beth is going to take the third dozen because I lost, and she's going to pay me 2 to 1. Now watch what happened. Even though I lost the $5, the $3 or whatever the bet was in the third dozen, I still have my original bet plus the 3 that I lost on the third dozen and a profit of $3. Now, since 20 came up, I would on the next spin bet the second and the third dozen again. What it's called is follow the dozens. It's so simple to play. Roulette is one of the best games for you to play in a casino. I want you to take a look at roulette. Look at the chart, learn this game, and you play it. I'd like to see you play it to maximum. But the tables are all the same. Every single wheel in the United States and the whole country is exactly the same with the 0, double zero payoffs and the double zero breakdowns on the way the numbers are spread around the wheel. Okay? I'm going to talk about one thing which is a difference between whether you're going to win or lose in gambling. It's called money management. Now, there's 4 things you need when you gamble. Watch this. Bankroll, knowledge, money management, and discipline. You hear me talk about this all the time. Bankroll is the amount of money you take to the casino. Knowledge of the game is being perfect. Money management is how do you bet, and discipline is when do you quit. There's also another thing I want you to remember. It's called a little 3. Theory, logic, and trends. Theory is an opinion as to how you play. My opinion. Theory, very conservative. That's the way I want to play. That's the way I want you to play, because I'm trying to minimize your losses and teach you how to win. Logic. Anything to do with gambling has a logical explanation. So the systems I show you is based on the chances of you losing less and increasing the chances of you winning. You can't win all the time. In other words, if you were to play black on this table, there are 18 black numbers, there are 18 red numbers, plus a 0 and a double 0. So I've got 18 ways of winning and 20 ways of losing. So it's almost a 50-50 chance. No matter what system I give you, I can't break that down. So I can only teach you the next level, which is called money management, the third part of the big 4. Money management is what do you bet when you win and what do you bet when you lose. And look at the things I'm trying to get across to you. After you get the big 4 and you get the little 3, which is theory, logic, and trends, the money management I teach you is going to help you handle the third part of the little 3, which is trends. Let's put it together. When you walk into a casino, you're going to take a bankroll with you. When you walk up to a table, it's called a session. You're going to buy in. The money they give you is called your session money. You're going to set 2 things when you walk up to that session. You're going to set a win goal and a loss limit. The win goal is an amount of money you're going to win with the session money that you brought to that table. I want you to play until you win 20%. If you lose 50%, you leave. So you're playing with a 20% win goal and a 50% loss limit. When you reach that win goal, you've got to have the guts to walk away from that table. You've got to learn how to quit. And the way you quit is having discipline. You put all these things together, you get yourself a chance of winning. I'm going to go over one more thing, what is called a regression system. The regression system is a theory whereby you can take a game that offers you a 50-50 chance of winning and losing and play the house even and still show a profit. For instance, if you're going to play black and red on the outside here, for instance, let's take black. 18 ways of winning and 20 ways of losing. Your first bet, for instance, would be $2. Now look at the theory. You would bet $2. Suppose you win. You take back the 2 you won, the 2 you started with, I'm sorry. So you're not in any trouble for this particular spin. You've got the 2 you started with, plus you're going to take a profit back and you're going to regress your next bet down to $1 or 1 chip, whatever the denomination is. So that even if you lost that next chip, there's the 2 you started with and there's a profit. It's called money management. And after that first chip is in your pocket, based on the fact that you've locked up a profit, let me show you how it works. And you're going to have to roll this tape over 150,000 times till you catch it. You bet 2 chips. You win. Take back the 2 you started with plus a profit of 1. You win again. You bet 2. You still got a profit. You win at the 2. You go up to 3 and pull back a profit. You win at 3. Go up to 4 and pull back 2. It's called up and pull. You're constantly going up and you're constantly pulling back a profit. That's the way to play. You know, you've seen a beginner's tape on on roulette, on craps, and on blackjack. We've given you a beginner's look at it. We've got 19 videotapes on all the games. Advanced craps, super craps, intermediate craps. It's on card counting, poker, horse racing, sports betting, Pai-Gow poker, on any type of gambling. And what we're trying to do is, on this tape here, teach you the beginning aspect of gambling. As you go deeper into the games, you're going to see an address on there if you want to get those deeper tapes. Learn them. Learn how to win. Next time you're down in Las Vegas, you get a chance to go into the Maxim. You will like it. You've got friendly dealers. You've got a beautiful atmosphere. You take a look at the Maxim. It's a way to play.
Today, millions of Americans are caught up in the excitement of the casino life, the anticipation of a big jackpot, the feeling of power that comes over you when the dice are rolling your way. Yet out of all these millions of players, only a handful really know what they're doing. One of these men is John Patrick. John Patrick is a professional gambler, author, and host of his own national TV show. His full-length, in-depth videos have helped thousands of casino players win at craps, blackjack, video poker, roulette, even slots. Shot in Atlantic City, these easy-to-follow tapes cover everything from the basic fundamentals and strategy for the novice to sophisticated money management and hedging techniques for the advanced player. Now, John Patrick introduces his sports handicapping series, football and horse race handicapping.
Down the stretch they come.
Plus, the first in a brand new series, the Lottery Video. Now you can start playing Lotto the smart way. Patrick believes that expert knowledge, discipline, and strict money management are the keys to success. He offers no miracle systems, no instant riches. Just sensible, practical advice on how you can reduce the house edge and become a more consistent winner.
You know, you've seen these tapes. You've heard me talk about them before. People say, well, you made these tapes to make money. Yeah, maybe I did. But I'll tell you, I'm not going to take the information to the grave with me. It's going to make you money. They're the best tapes on the market. I don't give a rat's tail if you like the systems or you don't. You follow them, and you're going to win money. Okay?
Each tape in the 19-volume series is $39.95, except slots and lottery, which are only $19.95. Buy 3 for $99 and pay only $33 each. To order, call toll-free 1-800-283-4411. Visa, MasterCard, American Express accepted. Operators are standing by. Call now 1-800-283-4411.